friends. So before we dive in, I have a quick favor to ask of you. If you love what you hear today, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review, and share this episode with friends or family or anybody who you feel needs to hear this. Your support helps this podcast grow and helps bring on more amazing guests who are here to inspire and empower you. So don't forget to tag us on social media when you're listening. I love seeing what resonates with you. Today we have Tay Daniels, and she is a 6-figure entrepreneur business coach, and she has a couple different ways that you can coach with her, whether you're just getting started, trying to reinvent yourself, and growing your business. So take a listen and let me know what your thoughts are.
Hello, fellow mompreneurs. Welcome to the Real Moms Podcast, the go-to space for resilient entrepreneurs who are striving for abundant living. I'm your host, Shae Spitz, a mompreneur and a realtor here in Columbus, Nebraska. Are you a mom juggling the hustle of entrepreneurship, family life, and personal growth? Well, you're in the right place. On this podcast, we dive deep into the real, unfiltered stories of incredible women who are navigating the journey of mompreneurship. We'll celebrate the victories, share practical insights, and acknowledge that it's okay to face challenges along the way. Success isn't about the destination. It's about the journey and the growth we experience as we balance our careers and the chaos of family life. Whether you're a seasoned mompreneur or just starting on this exciting path, join me and our amazing guests as we explore what it truly means to be a resilient entrepreneur striving for abundant living. Get ready for real, raw, and remarkable conversations that will inspire and uplift you. Because here at the Real Moms Podcast, we believe in the power of community, authenticity, and the strength that comes from embracing the journey together. So grab your coffee, find a cozy spot, and let's dive into the world of mompreneurship. This is the Real Moms Podcast, where we celebrate the hustle, honor the struggle, and thrive as resilient entrepreneurs living abundantly.
Welcome to another episode of Real Moms Podcast. I like to start every podcast off with a motivational quote, and today's quote is, "The people that like you will love you, and those who don't matter." So today I have Tay Daniels. She is a certified life and business coach and founder of Breadwinner Energy, a global brand that helps women rebirth their life and business. So Tay, thank you so much to be here. I think we have a lot in common, but tell me a little bit. Obviously, that intro didn't give you a whole lot of insight on your background. But as we were talking before, you said that you quit your corporate world job with $100 in your pocket. You were 7 months pregnant to chase your dreams. Like, crazy.
So
Tell
crazy.
me a little bit about how and why and where it's gone from there.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. So I actually grew up with my single mom, Native American mother, and we lived in a trailer, and we lived outside of where I went to school. And I grew up with her. She worked 3 jobs to put food on the table, but she sent me to the school in the town over, which was a pretty rich school, but we were far from that. But I knew from a young age that I just had, I don't know, there's something where I was like, I think I'm going to be rich and famous. That's what my 7-year-old self would say. And in our little town of people living in trailers, I would put on dance performances for the whole neighborhood, and I wanted to be rich and famous. No one thought that little old me would be that, and I was bullied through school from being the trailer park girl and being poor and not having what the other kids had. And when I got into adult life, I had this like burning desire to do something with my life, but I had no idea what it was. I dropped out of college. I had wrecked my credit. I had no degree. I had nothing that was screaming, oh, she will be successful in any sense. So I got married to someone in the military extremely young. And at 23 years old, I was working at a mental health hospital. I hated my job. I was pregnant, and I just had absolutely nothing that I wanted in life. So during my time being pregnant, I would search high and low for jobs. I just wanted to be at home. I just wanted to be with my daughter. I did not want to put her in daycare. I couldn't even afford it at the time. And I found being a virtual assistant. And so at 7 months pregnant, I said, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to build a business and be a virtual assistant. I had $100 to my bank account. My husband at that time had been deployed, and it was not conducive for bringing a child into this world at 23 and then, hey, let's start a business. Everyone thought I was insane. I was hell-bent, I'm going to do this. And so I built that virtual assistant business, and within 2 years, I decided to file for divorce from my ex-husband, who was physically, mentally, and emotionally abusive and an alcoholic. And I did not have enough money at this time to be a single mom. And so I went back and searched for 9-to-5s. I went through 3 rounds of interviews for a $40,000 job, and they told me no because the other girl had a degree and I did not, even though I was more qualified. And I said, okay, I'm going to take being a virtual assistant seriously. I'm going to niche down. And within 6 months, I was booked out. And a year later, I had a 6-figure agency. And through that entire journey, I had pretty much coached and consulted every client. And I was like, I want to be a coach. And I went through life coach certification. I got trained. I got trauma informed. And through this journey, I then built a multi-6-figure coaching business. And so I was able to build 2 multi-6-figure businesses. I'm remarried. I now have 2 children. And the rest is kind of history.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like so much. And I think a lot, you brushed over it because like even making the decision to file for divorce when you don't have any money, I think that alone
Yes.
is very scary for so many women because you
Yep.
don't know what's going to happen. Whereas if you're the breadwinner, you're not as scared to step away. But when you don't have the financial stability and housing or maybe even family support to
Yep.
help you through those hard times, I could not imagine it. Could not imagine it.
Yep.
And that would be, and I know that's why a lot of women do stick with abusive relationships is because they don't know where they're going to go once they step away.
Yep.
What are you going to do financially when you're raising a little one? And so that alone was just courage in itself, let alone doing all the other things on top of it. And it's interesting. I think we do have a lot more in common than you or than we thought, because I used to be a case manager for mentally ill adults prior to getting into real estate. I did that for 5-6 years. And it's interesting that you said that you didn't get that job because you didn't have a degree. I do think that college is a joke. And
Me too.
more and more people don't care about those degrees anymore unless you're a doctor or a nurse or
Yep.
something that you do need that sort of certification. But
Yep.
ultimately, so both my husband and I went to college, spent a lot of money getting these degrees. And I remember I worked so hard and my caseload was always so full.
Yep.
And I was making $25,000 a year, literally. I had 2 little kids. I mean, I wasn't making anything. And I
Yeah.
had a bachelor's degree and I was like, where am I going to go? Like, in order for me to go up, I would have to go back to school, get my master's for $30,000 and then what, make an extra $10,000, $15,000 a year?
Exactly.
Math ain't mathin'. I ain't doing that. And I actually went to my boss and I said, hey, my caseload is always so full, like beyond what our limit is.
Yeah.
I said, for every client that I take on above what we're supposed to be doing, could I get like a bonus? And she's, no, we don't do that. I'm like, what? So whether I have 28 people or 15 people, I'm getting paid the same. So that's why I was like, oh, okay, that's my, but I've always had a burning sensation. And even to this day, like I love everything about real estate, but I know it's not like my end all be all.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that I still have this burning desire, but I know it's going to come. I ask God every day, grant me the peace or the patience to fulfill your purpose, but I need to be patient with you. So.
This is so interesting on so many levels and layers. So I want to go back. So this is actually how Breadwinner Energy came full circle, was from, if you're the breadwinner as a woman, you have choices and you have freedoms that you would not have otherwise had. But that was how it was created, because at that time I was being controlled by him. His money was everything. So I had to stay in a position until I finally was like, it's not worth it. But I said, I will never be in that position again. And Breadwinner Energy was created for other women to have choices and freedom and financial flexibility so that you never have to be in this position where a boss or a partner can tell you what to do and how to live your life. So that was like layer 1. And then layer 2 is my now husband has his bachelor's degree and I out-earned him and was the literal breadwinner of our family, even though I had no degree. So then there's like a secondary layer. And now I have spent 10 years finding my own purpose, and it didn't come full circle for me literally until last year when I burnt down my whole business. And I was finally able 9 years into business to find and truly be convicted, and this is my purpose on this earth, and now helping other women find that purpose for themselves, because I truly believe that your purpose, number 1, is you remember it through this journey. So many people are unwilling to go through the journey to uncover what their purpose is, and they just want to be like, I want to be successful, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I'm like, you're missing the biggest parts and lessons and steps that will set up this path for the rest of your life, you're unwilling to do that work. And so that's where I help women through this rebirth journey, whether you're rebirthing into a better version for better relationships, more money, more success, better relationships with your kids, your family, and then ultimately taking that, uncovering what you're meant to do and leading other women with your purpose and your journey and your story, because other women are going to find you and find that connection. And so I lead from this place and I teach other women to lead from this place. And that's like how it's come full circle.
That's amazing. And I really believe that a setback is a setup for a comeback. Because like for me, this whole podcast got started because I had a huge setback in my mental health and physical health and whatever else happened in that time of frame, which felt like an eternity, but it was only like 4 weeks long, but it felt like an eternity. It was horrible. I remember calling my doctor at 4:30 in the morning crying, am I going to ever get better? It's horrible. I can joke about it now, but I remember I just hired my coach at that time, and very expensive too. It's not like it was a $100 coach. It was $2,000 a month. But I remember getting on the call. It was like our second call, third call. I don't know. And I'm thinking he's going to fire me. And I get on the call. Him and I have searched for the video, but I think if I remember right, he stopped the video because I was crying so hard.
Yeah.
But I was crying so hard. I had like snot and drool, and it was awful. And he was like, I'll never forget. He said, Shae, it's not about what happens to you. It's what you do about it. Or
yeah.
Something along those lines. I know I remember it, but something along those lines. It's not about getting knocked down. It's how long you stay down. And I'm like, okay, I got this. And then like I had heard shortly after, a setback is a setup for a comeback. Like your situation, you've been in the business for 8 years, 9 years, and people think, oh, you're doing well. Things are going to be running smoothly. It's all uphill from here, because that's the misconception on success. Success is not just get somewhere and it's smooth sailing uphill. Especially as an entrepreneur, we're always looking for that next thing. It's almost a dopamine high.
Oh, for sure.
What it is. And people are like, Shae, can't you just be happy with where you're at? No, I can. I am. I'm very happy with where I'm at. But I know there's more. And I'm not going to set myself back and just be okay. Now, there's phases in life, because like with little kids, would I love and go do this traveling and do these business coaching in all these other places? Absolutely. But I also have 3 little ones that this is my time with them too. I can do that still, just not as much as I would like to. So it's kind of a time. So what happened with your business about a year ago? Because again, I think it came back to a setback is a setup for a comeback. So tell me what happened about a year ago.
Yeah. So the beginning of 2024, I had my first ever 6-figure launch, which was like my biggest goal was to make a 6-figure launch, not just a 6-figure, multi-6-figure year. And so in 6 weeks, I made 6 figures, and it was the most money I'd made in the shortest amount of time. And I had been running this specific program for almost a year. I launched this program fresh off my second maternity leave in 2023. We grew it, we scaled it. We had 50 people in there. I was making a lot of money. And right after that, not even a month later, I get a message on Instagram that someone is using my trademark. Now, in any other case, this would not be that big of a deal. My attorney will send a cease and desist. People are like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. They stop using it. This is very different. She made multi-million dollars. She was working with JP Morgan, and she did not care that she was using my trademark because she had money to spend and I was a nobody. So I spent from March of 2024 through September of 2024, burning down my entire business, going through the biggest lawsuit I have ever been through. I did not think my business was going to make it. Her attorneys told me and my attorney and her word for word, she is nobody, take her out. Essentially meaning just keep the legal case going. She doesn't have money to keep spending in legal. And my attorneys were like, there's going to have to be give and take, or we're going to go to litigation and she will eat you for dinner. And it was essentially like in the attorney world, they call it kissing your sister, basically meaning you don't win, but you don't lose. Luckily, I was able to get through that year and hold on to my business. I took over $100,000 loss in my business, but it was also the best thing that ever happened to me. It gave me such resilience. It gave me such fire for the company that I created, the name that I created, the trademark that I spent 3 years getting official. And then I rebirthed my business into like my soul's calling, because before that I was just coaching coaches on creating offers, which yeah, sure, that's great work, right? But it wasn't this like burning passion in my soul. Like I want women to change their whole life. Every single woman deserves to have a life that she loves. And I have such a story that so many people, if they had this story, would quit. I've been in 3 abusive relationships. I lost my dad to suicide when I was 13 years old. I've been through child SA multiple times. I have had one of the hardest lives. I'm at 32 with 2 kids and 2 husbands. I am hell or high water. I'm going to make something for myself and show other women, no matter what you've been through, you can do this. And it just lit this fire in me that I was like, I'm not giving up. She's not getting my business. She has worked for nothing in her life. She has been given this opportunity from her parents, and she's preaching money to other people, but she was born into money. And I was not. And I know there's other women out here who need to hear this. She's not getting that name. To this day, I assume and have been told she's no longer using the name, but that really spiraled me into this. Like, I was 40 pounds overweight. My hormones were wrecked. I was so depressed. I was so anxious all the time. I felt like everything in my life was just burning to the ground. But honestly, it was like the best thing that ever happened to me.
Isn't that wild though to think about?
Yeah.
Because so many people would have given up. So many people would have quit. So
Yep.
many people would have thrown in the towel. And just when you're about to quit, if 95, 98% of the people, when you quit, if you would have just kept going, the
Yep.
light was on the other side of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And so many people don't realize that because they feel resistance. So they stop going. I was at an event last night and I even told my husband, I said, I didn't like the way this lady talked. She was super sweet. Love her. She's just getting into business. And so it'll learn. But she made the comment. She goes, yeah, when somebody told me if it gets too hard, it just wasn't meant to be. And she goes, ever since then, it's been easy. And I'm like,
Whoa.
might not be the right path for you
That is
because
terrible advice.
literally, I was like, nope.
No.
It needs to be tough. I want to work with people who have endured the hard times. That I don't want to work with somebody that everything's been easy, because when time gets tough, what's going to happen?
You'll
You're
quit.
going to throw the towel. You're going to give up. There's so many things. I remember sitting through a training. It's about just different like life insurance and investments and stuff like that. It's not my realm per se, but I remember thinking like, I don't love this, or I don't quite understand it. I want to understand it. So I'm like forcing myself to go through it just because investments, and I love all those things. And little by little, like it picks up, but I've been trying to understand this stuff for 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
And I just it just keeps drawing me back to it. God keeps signs. And so I'm like, all right, I got to keep learning this, no matter how hard it is, no matter how tough it is. Like, I want to figure this out.
Yep.
I feel like God works in mysterious ways. Like, he plants these little seeds, and I don't know, like I met this gentleman, his name's actually Ryan Lee, and he has like a big wealth investment company, but I met him back in November. And then on my podcast, like 2 months ago, I ended up interviewing one of his one of his employees on my podcast. And then the next week, I was sitting in on a Zoom call, and somebody's like, you guys need to get involved with this, which was his company. And then he ironically reached out to me 2 days ago, and I'm like, what is going on? All right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, God's throwing me these signs. I got to follow it, even though like I'm resisting because I don't understand it enough. I don't think people realize how hard that would have been for anybody, you know, and the fact that you've grown up in such a hard life, and the harder times that you go through, the easier it gets little by little.
Yeah.
It doesn't a breeze, but every challenge, every level is a new devil. So like the challenges that you faced early on in your businesses is probably nothing.
No.
That's oh, somebody gave me a bad review. At first, it probably would have been like, oh my gosh, this is
devastating.
Terrible. Yeah, and now that makes sense. Let's just keep moving on.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So where do you see your business going from here then?
That's a good question. I want to go back just for a second before I answer this question though, because I have this belief that the harder your life equals you are built for success. People who have lived in survival mode and that's all you know, you don't quit and you don't give up. So your job is to learn how to get out of survival mode and enjoy life and success, right? But for people who have never been initiated, that's what I call it, being initiated, is entrepreneurship is just sometimes not for those people, or it's extremely difficult because you don't know how to follow through and you don't know how to survive when things get hard. And so I want you to know, if your life has been harder, it's like the most purest sign that you're just meant for success. Like, you're meant to do this because you always know you don't give up. And what is the worst that happens if you chase your dreams, right? And I also believe that you don't have to know what the steps are or why it's happening in this moment. You have to hold on to, what do I want for my life? For you, it's like, I'm holding on to this vision, this future vision. And in this path, I don't know why I'm given these signs. I don't know why these things are placed in front of me, but I'm holding on that it's going in this direction. That's how you know you're probably more on your soul's path or calling, versus being like, I know every single step and it's so easy for me. It's usually not like that. It's like, I just have this vision and I'm taking one step at a time and allowing it to unfold. That's the best part. So where's my...
I have that tattoo. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
I got it when I was like 19 or 20. I don't know. One step at a time, and it's on my foot with two little feet prints. How ironic.
Oh my God, that's so cool. That's so good. Where's my business going? $1 million years is our next goal. But $1 million years to us equals massive impact for women around the world, changing the way that women see themselves and wealth, and changing my family, changing generations for my daughters, and showing my daughters what it's like to be a powerful, independent woman, to be the breadwinner as a woman, and setting them up for a completely different life than I've ever had.
Right. I absolutely love that, because I think the more I keep going through all of this and making these connections with people like Ryan Lee and my coach, Michael Burt, even getting people connected. I love connecting people. I love connecting women with the right people and giving them options. Hey, if you have this kind of money, let's don't do the traditional way of doing this and this.
No.
Here's an option for you to invest in a data center. Here's an option for you to invest in a mutual fund. Here's an option for you to invest in a real estate portfolio without having to have millions of dollars. Like you can have a minimum of $50,000 to invest. You can have a minimum of $100,000 to invest. And I know that sounds like a lot of money for a lot of people, but you can get there. And like, if you set those goals and little by little start investing or saving that money aside and just finding different ways to think outside the box. And I've gotten a lot of resistance. I love my CPA, best guy that I've ever, aside from my husband. He kills me. And I'm like, are you ready to fire me yet? Because I try all these things and I fail a lot. Don't get me wrong, I fail a lot. He's like, what the hell are you doing, Shae? What the hell? And I was like, I don't know, you just clean up the mess. Just make sure I'm not paying too much in taxes. But that's literally, I'm like, are you ready to fire me? I've given him so much business and referred people over to him, but I do get resistance from him as well because he's a CPA. So like, I try these things. He's like, really? Do you really? And I was like, I already did it. So now we got to figure out how to undo it or fix it. But it is interesting. And because I got resistance on this other thing that I did a year and a half ago. And then I got approached about it again. I'm like, shit, should I do it again? But he gave me resistance and I cashed out on it. And now I'm getting pulled to do that again and give it a try. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. And it is the weirdest thing. So being the breadwinner in your marriage, how does that affect or impact not only your husband, but your relationship with your husband?
That's a good question, because I have gotten so much shit, for lack of better terms, from the world, my family, my stepfather, about women being breadwinners and how it's disrespectful to men. It's disrespectful to my husband.
Fucking level up then.
I can't. Women having success, wealth, and power is so threatening to people. It just blows my mind. I will say that as a breadwinning woman, it takes a particular man to be with, right? You have to be with a man who is okay with it, of course, and also is not in competition with you, and that you see each other as you're different and you come together in different ways. Because last year I leaned very heavily on my husband's income and my husband in general to get through this process, right? So there was a time in my earlier days, my younger days, where I was a little more egotistical and look at me, I'm the breadwinner, I make all the money, where now it's more of, this just gives our entire family so much freedom and opportunity that a 9-to-5 can't. My husband's in law enforcement, so that's a very scary job that I'm like, I cannot wait to get you away from there. But I would say in our marriage specifically, we've made it work. We've had lots of open conversations about it. And he's very, I don't know, his mom was the breadwinner. So I just feel like he's just very, it is what it is. And it hasn't, I feel like he was not egotistical about it, where other men would be like threatened by it. And I think that's what makes us work.
Now, when you guys got together, were you the breadwinner at the beginning?
No, we made the same amount of money exactly.
Okay.
And then
Because that was a big
yeah.
difference too.
Yeah, and then I out-earned him every single year until 2024. And then I took that big loss and really leaned on him. And now I'm like in this rebuilding phase. So it's also nice too, because I wouldn't say it's nice, but I like was begging him to leave his job and he didn't. I just don't like, we need time. I don't think we're ready. And then that happened and I'm glad that he didn't. But now I'm like, crap, is he ever going to leave?
I know. So that's interesting because my husband and I, like when we got together, very poor. We were very broke from the beginning. I had no money, but I always worked very hard. Oh, sorry, it was a big thunder. I didn't know what it was. I was always working. When I went to school full time, I was working 2 full-time jobs. Like I was sure that I was not going to get out of college with debt.
Yeah.
But anyway, my husband, the other side, he was like, oh, free money from the loans, these school loans. Let me go party it off. So he ended up having a bunch of debt after he got out of college. But we had very little money. And but when I was making $25,000, he was making probably 70. He had all the health benefits, everything. Yeah. So it was probably a little easier me leaving my job and doing 100% going into real estate because yeah, $25,000 helped a lot, but at the same time, it wasn't enough for it to break the bank necessarily. Like we'd figure it out. But it's interesting because he obviously was always the breadwinner in the beginning of the relationship. And up until actually him and I talked because he wanted to leave his corporate world too. And we talked and we set a goal. Like if once I make this amount of money, he could then leave because it not only helped cover his expense, it would have covered our health benefits and then a little bit more for my income. Yeah. And so I hit that in about 1.5 years. He ended up getting his real estate license as well. And so he has been doing land sales ever since, but it has been a struggle. Like land is so much harder than residential. Yeah. And so I've still continued to be the breadwinner over the last 5 years, but it was a challenge for us. Like we went through some hard times and he does not have a big ego, does not at all. Yeah. But I could tell it affected his confidence.
Oh, for sure. Because they want to feel important and useful.
Yes. Yeah. And it's hard for a man to go from work, I'm bringing in the money, to now, hey, I need to help out more with the kids. I need to start helping more with supper and things around the house. Like it was a shift and it's gotten so much better now. Yeah. But it was a shift for 3 years. Easy that we struggled with his confidence because I could see it and I'm like, just like, you can't let that bother you. Like you got to move. And the more and more I talk to people, even here locally, there's some men there's a lot of men who stay home and help with the kids, even here in our community. Yeah. And it's okay.
Yeah. It's way more normalized now.
Yes, very much. And people just need it. But I also have friends whose husbands are very dominant as well. And so they butt heads. Like they're always in competition with one another. And then the husband does his own thing and kind of steps away from helping out with the kids. So that would be so hard. Yeah,
I agree. I'm actually really grateful for my husband because he's good at his job. He loves his job. And that requires such a different version of him. But at the same time, he's very much understanding of like our home life too. And we've constantly had to find that balance because his schedule is not cut and dry, right? He travels a lot. He's gone a lot, long hours. And so we do a lot of ebb and flow of who's full-time parent, primary parent, who's home with the kids, who's working, right? We've had to find that balance too. That balance was really hard after having our daughter in 2023 because our oldest was 6. So we are way out of that phase. And then we bring a newborn in. It's like starting all the way over. So it's like finding new ebbs and flows. And so that was really challenging too. And I think that in general, women, mothers who are also business owners and wives, you do have to play this like juggling act, like your mom and your shark, because you're a business owner and then that's a different version of you. And that's also too why I help women build embodiment based businesses, because it allows you to be at home with your kids. It allows you to build it around your life, the season of life you're in, your personality. And it allows you to build a business that isn't requiring so much of you in order to run, maintain, or grow it. And then again, there's the ebbs and flows of what season of life you're in with kids, with family, with whatever. But I feel like I have mastered 10-hour work weeks, multi 6-figure years while being pretty much a full-time stay-at-home mom.
That's amazing. That is amazing because I think, and going back, because I have not mastered that. I need to get to that point though. I have not mastered that.
Come on over, I got you.
I know. I will get into your business a little bit more here in a little bit, but I think women also need to realize, especially when you're building your business, that you need to be okay with having those slow times in your business to focus on your kids for a little bit.
Yeah.
And when I say slow times, it could be a couple months, it could be a couple days, it could be a day, it could be a couple weeks. But we need, one of my co-agents, she just had a baby. And I said, you need to take that time. Like because she's very driven as well. And she's, I want to enjoy this, but I'm ready to get back to work. And I said, you need to be okay with being slow. Like it's
Or
okay.
both.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that there's sometimes I totally understand is like spending intentional time in mom mode and allowing your business to maintain or to slow down. But I also think on the opposite end, it's also okay to work and allow your kids to see you work too. And I think that that balance is hard because it's, oh, I should be working. Oh, I should be with the kids versus it doesn't have to be one or the other, but it's also okay to fill in one more. Cause I have a lot of moms that have so much guilt around like, I just have to be with the kids and I can't work and I can't run my business. And I'm like, that is so far from the truth, right? So you have to find which bucket do you fall more into and find more of that balance.
And that's this week for me. My kids have swim lessons pretty much all week, and then they have 4-H and all this stuff. So I am taking a lot of time away from work. That means on Saturday, I'm going to be doing several open houses. So I'm going to be gone most of the day on Saturday. So it is a little bit of that give and take and being okay with business slowing down a little bit, but then it's okay to also the very next day be focused on work, have somebody else watch the kids, and that day is your day for work. Or even if it's just for a couple hours during a day, it is okay. Because to be honest with you, if I spent all day, every day with my kids, I would not be a good mom. No. They would not like me. I would not like me. I would not like them. So I love my kids dearly, but I need my separation from them, just like I need my separation from my husband and honestly from myself too.
And work. Yeah. It's finding all that balance. And I'm the same way too. I say this all the time. It's like, my business is like my thing. It's like my own place to be me, to be in adulthood, to connect with other women. I'm not mom here. I'm not wife here. I am like me here. And so that's honestly too what kept me going, because there's so many times last year I was like, I might as well just quit and be a stay-at-home mom. And everyone's like, you would hate that. Why would you do that? We can't even see you doing that. And I was like, yeah, true.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And I always say my plan is to retire by 45, and I do this because I know I'll never retire, but I want to be able to be at a level of income, of passive income, that I have the option to be able to retire. But then when you get to that point, you have the freedom to do whatever you want when you want, and you can take those bigger risks. So tell me a little bit about your business. Like truly, how do you, if I was somebody coming to you and I wanted to learn about your business, what would that process look like? And what should my expectations be when I would be, I guess I'm assuming, hiring you as a coach?
Yeah. So I have 2 containers. And they're both group, and I coach in a very different way. So I've learned through many years of coaching and consulting exactly how I can use my own gifts to coach other people. This is why I'm like a huge component of group coaching, because in group coaching, you learn so much from other people and other people's experiences, where one-to-one coaching, my clients did not get the same results. So both of my containers are group. So I have something called Breadwinner Energy Academy, and that is one of our trademarks. And that room is about rebirthing yourself. And then the expansion room, so it's a secondary group where you rebirth you and your business. You become a leader, right? You become a movement maker. You lead a movement of your story and what you're here to do. I'm a firm believer, though, that if you're going to be a business owner, an online business owner, or a coach or a consultant or a mentor of some sort, you have to do that inner work first. You have to do the work and be the leader of walking the walk and embodying what you tell other people to do. So many people in this industry are just telling people what to do. They never do it. They've never been through it. They're not sharing their story. And then they're selling it and making money. It's a crock of shit. So when you come into my world, my coaching style is, you're probably going to be triggered. I'm probably going to activate the shit out of you, because I refuse to let you settle and refuse to let you hold yourself back and play small. My entire group is about women upgrading your identity, being really transparent of like who you are, what you're here to do, and everything blocking you from that version of success. So we get really clear on like where you are now, where you want to be, and everything that's blocking you. So maybe you have visibility wounds and you don't want people to actually see like your true self. Maybe you have abandonment and rejection wounds, and so you're terrified of selling because you don't want to be told no. We find every single block that's between you and that version of you. This changes the way that you have money. It changes your relationships with your partner because you actually take full accountability for who you are and what you contribute, and you stop being the victim to your life and the victim to your relationships and the victim to your money and the victim to your business, and you change your whole identity. You become a completely different person. You're confident, you're convicted, you know your purpose in life. You walk with your head high, you know exactly what you're here to do, and then we build a business based on that. So then in that space, we go to growing, scaling, launching offers, like all things business, and how to create a business that works for you.
So is it like a start and stop session, or can somebody join in the middle of it? Or
Oh yeah, good question.
How does that coaching work?
Yeah, so it's called Evergreen. It's open enrollment. You can join any day, anytime. When you come in, you get a full portal, your own portal inside of our school community of trainings. We have, 60 trainings. Every month, 2 times a month, I do open coaching. You come in, you ask for coaching. I coach however many people we can get through in an hour, 2 times. We have guest experts that come in and teach on investments and money and business and life and all things. And then we have opportunities to be an affiliate. So you get your own custom link. You tell people, they join, you make money. That's how we run our groups. Yeah, you can join any day, anytime. You get instant access into the community, into coaching, into the replays, the calls, the portal.
Okay, so for those who are listening and they want to learn more about your business and what you do and potentially joining in on your coaching, where can they go to be able to do that?
Great question. So you can come to first Instagram at it's Tay Daniels _LLC. You can listen to the Breadwinner Energy podcast, and then you can come to my website, breadwinnerenergy.co.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. And I just want to say before we jump off the call, what is one piece of advice you would give to your younger self or somebody who's like just getting started in the business or wanting to?
Yeah, great question. The number one piece of advice I would give you is to do it messy, do it without clarity, let people see you try and fail. And my favorite quote is fuck around and find out, meaning you're not going to know what you're supposed to do until you try the different things and just fail at them. So do it better, do it faster, make the decision, go all in, and you will find it through that journey, but you won't unless you fuck around and find out.
That's right. I mean, in a good way or a bad way. I have a quote that's up here and it says, it's your own life. Fuck it up however you want. So good or bad, however you want, literally. So it's very interesting, but it's true. And I like how you said, go fast and go strong and focus. Like speed increases focus. Yep. So many people, especially those who are very analytical, or they suffer from analysis paralysis because they overthink things. They want to make sure everything's right and put into place. But I can promise you, it's not ready, aim, fire. It's fire, ready, aim.
Yep.
You fire, you get ready, and then you start figuring it out. And one of my other favorite quotes is, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards.
Yep.
Because you can't be like, oh, that's where I'm going. No, it's this, and it's backwards, it's down, it's up, it's every which way that you could possibly think of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you love what you heard today, take a second, hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review, and be sure to check out Tay's coaching businesses. If you have any questions, reach out to her, go onto her Instagram, leave her a 5-star review on her podcast as well, and let us know what you think about this episode. And I hope that we have impacted you in some way, shape, or form. If you found value in this, make sure that you are sharing it, tag your friends, share it with those who you feel may also impact from this as well. Tay, thank you so much for being here, and good luck with all that you do. And like I said before, every setback is a setup for a comeback. So I'm excited to see how you take your business to another level.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you.
And that wraps up another inspiring episode of the Real Moms Podcast. A huge thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their story and insights today. If you found value in today's conversation, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And hey, sharing is caring, right? Share this podcast with your fellow mompreneurs, friends, and anyone who you feel could use a dose of inspiration. Share it on your social media as well. But most importantly, if you found this episode helpful, please, please, please leave me a 5-star review. This helps get our information out to those who have never heard or seen us before. Are you feeling inspired and you're sure that you could add some value to the podcast? Shoot me a message and let's talk. We love hearing from you. So connect with us on social media. Tag me at Shae J Spitz. That's ShaeJSpitz. And share your thoughts and takeaways, or even suggest topics you'd like to have us explore more in the future episodes. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Your resilience is your strength, and your pursuit of abundant living is truly remarkable. As always, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep embracing the beautiful chaos of being a mompreneur. Until next time, take care, stay real, and keep living abundantly.